Tonight on Best Bits, the women did a thing. Walter Walker jumped the heel hook.
Get his hips forward.
Oh, he slipped off when he went for it.
He's looking for
Junior Taffer is awful.
Keep that space.
There's the tap.
And Derrick Lewis takes a phone call.
This is an emergency call from Air Force One. This is the president.
You were just on the phone with the president.
For sure.
I went 11-1 on picks. The only fight I got wrong was Taffer, Junior Taffer. All my underdogs won. All my underdog picks won. I'm the guy. Listen, I have the best predictions on MMA YouTube. I'm the MMA YouTube underground king with these predictions. I've got like an 88% success rate, maybe a little bit less than that. Welcome back to Best Bits. Today we are recapping UFC Nashville, Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. The first fight of the night was Klein versus Martinez. I had to read that one off the page there. Klein did a thing. Beautiful head kick knockout in round 3. Round 1, fairly close. Round 2, Klein started to pull ahead. Round 3, Klein is clearly ahead. Lands a beautiful head kick, gets the finish. Not really much more to say about it. The commentary was a little bit annoying. They were like, gosh, isn't it crazy how evolved women's MMA is now? And I was just thinking to myself, let's not get ahead of ourselves now, Laura Senko. Let's not get ahead of ourselves now. There's improvement, but it's not leaps and bounds by any means. Next up, we had Davis versus Ramirez. Mike Davis dominates round 1. Gets touched up at the start of round 2. It was looking a little bit rocky there for him. He stabilizes the situation. Comes back with some ferocious boxing with a flying knee mixed in. Gets the TKO. Brilliant. Brilliant fight. Nice back and forth. Really entertaining. Excellent finish. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Walter Walker. Next up. Walter Walker by heel hook. As predicted, I said Walter Walker by submission. That's three heel hook finishes. That's 3 finishes. That's 3 wins in the UFC by heel hook finish. So he's chasing a record. It's going to be good to see how it goes. Looney Tune genetics, guys. That's what I said. Looney Tune genetics. Anything is possible. Jump a guillotine? Nah. Walter Walker jumps fucking heel hooks. Next up, we've got Murphy versus Mora. Lauren Murphy put on a good fight. Like I said, I don't know why she came back. She probably could have retired 2 years ago. Probably not at the top, but she put on a great show. Edward Moore there by decision. Murphy was coming back in that third round. She was going hell to leather, and Mora was tired. But too little, too late for Murphy. Good show for a final timeout. Nothing to be ashamed of there. A good fight to retire on against what could be a decent contender in that division going forward. Matthews versus Njokuani. Now, I picked Jake Matthews. I don't know anyone else who picked Jake Matthews. I don't know. Everyone was like, nah, man. Chidi Njokuani, he's got this one easy. I said, no way. I'm saying Jake Matthews by submission. Am I a wizard? How do I know these things? I said Jake Matthews is the right style to beat Chidi. Is the right style, and I was right. The style of Matthews was just kind of... It confused Chidi. And Matthews saw his opportunity and took it. He didn't really let Chidi get going, which is exactly as I predicted. So no one can deny it. Not So Lethal has the best picks on MMA YouTube. Simple as that. Next fight was Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. I picked Chris Curtis. I was stressing, I'm not going to lie. Chris Curtis, why do you leave all of these fights so close? Chris Curtis, you're the most unlucky fighter in the UFC. Can we just point out the fact that Chris Curtis started the fight in like 30 seconds and he just took a vicious kick to the groin. Just got his nuts absolutely blasted into his torso. And then immediately after that got poked in the eye as well. And so I was thinking to myself, oh God, if Chris Curtis loses this, I'm not going to hear about this eye poke and groin kick for the next couple of months. I'm never going to hear the end of it. Out of Chris Curtis anyway. But no, Chris Curtis, he knuckled down. They went to war. He won round 2 and round 3 clearly enough. He's the unluckiest fighter ever. So, you know, it's a strange one. I think he won round 2 and 3 clearly enough. I don't think it should have been a split decision. But he's unlucky and he leaves things far too close. Like there was moments where he could have just kept going and probably steamrolled through Griffin. But instead he backed off because he was worried about getting countered. And it's like sometimes you've got to take those chances, Chris, because you know we're winning split decisions here, man, and we don't do the best on decisions usually. You know, got a bit of a track record with getting robbed on decisions with Chris Curtis. So strange that he lets it go to decisions still. Strange that he fights the way he does still. But that's just Chris Curtis for you. On to the next one. We've got Tafa versus Tokos. Now, I only got one fight wrong on this card. I almost swept the card. I got 11 fights right, one fight wrong. Why the fuck did I trust the Tafa? Why did I trust the Tafa? What's wrong with me? Junior Tafa is shit. Zero grappling, brother. Zero grappling. My only incorrect prediction on the card, Tafa got exposed. I mean, he was already exposed. Everyone knows he can't grapple. But that was an extreme example of his lack of grappling. He got absolutely dominated by Tokos. Listen, I don't rate Tokos that highly. I really don't rate Tokos that highly. I'm biased. Okay, I always pick like the UK fighter. You know this if you watch the channel. I didn't pick Tokos because I know Tokos isn't that good, and he dominated Tafa. He controlled Tafa. He even landed better shots than Tafa on the feet. So Tafa let me down. The only fighter on the card that let me down. Tafa sucks. I'm biased on this channel. You know, you watch the channel, I'm biased. I pick UK fighters. I pick old world fighters to beat new world fighters all the time. I didn't pick Tokos because Tokos is generally not that good. He's got 3 fights. We had 3 fights in the UFC and he hasn't won any of them. You know, he was just kind of a middle-of-the-road fighter in my opinion. And there he is, absolutely putting the work on Tafa. So, only fights I got wrong. Tafa sucks. Can we please cut the Tafa brothers from the UFC? Can we get rid of them? It's just irritating now. Let's just get rid of them. They can go and fight somewhere else. Go and get them in a different promotion or something. Next up, Petrino versus Lane. Petrino submitted Lane in round 1. Austin Lane proved that even with his long ass arms, he still has no concept of how to use a jab or to use his reach. He got manhandled, honestly. And I got myself back in the win column, I guess. But yeah, absolutely dominated by Petrino. The smaller man as well, just didn't really get a chance to get going. I mean, Austin Lane doesn't get going anyway. He doesn't use his range. He's got range and he doesn't use his range. That's all I can really say about it. It was kind of obvious the way it was going to go. I'd said it in my prediction video. Petrino is levels above Lane, and Lane just doesn't use his gifts anyway. So why would you ever pick him? Next up was Nate Landwehr. I put a fun bet on late Landwehr, and you know what? He was doing me proud, man. My boy was doing me proud. But as you know, we picked Morgan Charrier for the real prediction. Better fight out of Landwehr than I expected. I thought he'd get worked round 1 and 2, and instead he ended up working in round 1 and 2. He was beating up Charrier. He was mixing it up. He was being unorthodox, being really aggressive. And after you know a close round 1 and 2, it was going into a round 3 where it could go either way. And Charrier's corner told him this, and Charrier came out and went, "All right, fine. Want a gunfight? We're having a gunfight." Marched across the octagon and absolutely beat down Nate Landwehr. Brilliant finish, entertaining fight. Great show from Landwehr. I worry he gets cut from the UFC now, but it was a pretty good fight, so I could see them keeping him around for maybe one more and see how he does. It's very warm in here. The heat wave's getting to me now. The door's closed because I'm trying to be quiet. Next up, Keita versus Garcia. Again, we predicted this one. I said Garcia by TKO. He was close to getting it a couple of times in the fight. Keita's just a hard guy to finish. He managed to survive to the final bell. Really fun fight to watch, despite the lack of a finish. Garcia was just pouring on pressure from the first second all the way into the last second. Keita just had to kind of try and survive and look for countering opportunities that weren't really presenting themselves. So yeah, another spectacular spot-on prediction by me. Maybe not 100% spot on. I did say TKO, but we got the W, and that's what matters. Next up was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Bonfim. Robbery, right? I picked Bonfim to win. I picked him to submit Wonderboy, to be honest, and we almost had that in round 1. We almost had the submission in round 1. I thought he would, be better at grappling. I thought he'd get there. Wonderboy survived a pretty in there rear naked choke. It wasn't under the chin, but there was cranking on it, and it could have slid under the chin like the way it was precariously balanced on Wonderboy's chin, but no, Wonderboy managed to shuck him off, managed to escape the position, and then in round 2 he just started doing work. He survived on the ground through round 1, got up in round 2 and started doing work. Obviously, they were stood up at the start of round 2, and he came out and he started doing work. He was working the leg kicks. Bonfim checked one of the kicks. It was a nice kick that, it was a vicious kick that Wonderboy had thrown, and it was a beautiful check by Bonfim. It busted up Wonderboy's shin. It like burst open. There was a bunch of blood. Wonderboy fell over because of the check. It knocked him off balance. You know, he just booted an immovable object, so to speak. He kicked the check. He fell down, but you know he had rocked Bonfim at least once before that, and then proceeded to rock him twice after that. And then towards the end of the second round, where he had hit the shin, and throughout the third round, he was still throwing the leg. It wasn't really compromised. It just looked worse. It just looked really bad. And I feel like that's kind of why Bonfim won the decision. I think based on that, on that cut on the shin of Thompson, that's what got Bonfim the win, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. Obviously, you don't see it very often, and it was kind of a nasty wound. But it's listen. Towards the end of round 3, Wonderboy was throwing head kicks with that. He landed a head kick in like the last 30 seconds. Wonderboy landed a head kick with that same shin, with that same messed up shin. Lands it right on the head of Bonfim, and Bonfim wobbles. You know, and Wonderboy just doesn't kind of capitalize on it, or doesn't really realize. Or Bonfim kind of ate it, to be fair. Bonfim kind of ate it. He paused for a minute, it kind of hit the reset button, but he kept coming. To be fair to Bonfim, but yeah, you know, it wasn't like it was a tremendous amount of damage. It looked worse than what it was, and I feel like that's why Bonfim got the win. I felt like it was a robbery. I did pick Bonfim. It did go in my way. The robbery did go in my favour. But I did feel like Wonderboy won that fight. It did feel kind of like a bitter victory, a bittersweet victory, if you will. I felt like Wonderboy really did win that fight. Oh well. Finally, the main event time. So I picked Tallison Teixeira to win in my prediction video, but if you follow me on Twitter, not many of you do, I did change my prediction after Taffa got absolutely exposed. I said that Derrick Lewis was going to win by knockout. I changed my prediction. I said round 1 knockout. And I put all my money, I moved all my money into Derrick Lewis getting the round 1 knockout. And it worked out for me. We still made a nice little profit. Derrick was being sneaky with it. I said Derrick is sneaky with it. He pretends to be hurt. He pretends that you've hurt him. You come in to finish him. You come in to look and see what's going on. You smell the blood, and then Derrick's like, I'm actually fine, and then he bonks you. And you know, it was a really good fight, really short fight as well. Like Derrick just straight over there, straight to work, gets it done. Brilliant win. A little bit of controversy, people saying it was nearly stoppage. Look, the ref came in. The reason Tallison was able to get up was because the ref came in and didn't stop the fight. The ref stepped in, got ridiculously close to the fight like he was going to stop it, and then changed his mind last second. Derrick Lewis, seeing the ref in his peripheral vision, approach and then stop on the outside, and he hesitated for a minute. This gave Tallison time to grab the fence and pull himself to his feet, which isn't allowed anyway. And while he was doing so, Derrick realizes the fight hasn't been stopped and continues hitting him in the head. Tallison's got his back to Derrick. He's being punched in the head without defending. He's holding onto the fence to try and stand up. The referee stops the fight. It wasn't an early stoppage. Tallison was not defending himself correctly. I'm sorry you guys lost the bet. If you didn't see the change on the Twitter, all the more reason to go and follow the Twitter. I'm active on there every card. I'm not active on there most of the time, regardless of a fight night. I'm usually on there for a UFC card. So don't expect me to be on there regular. Yeah, so I don't think it was an early stoppage. I don't think Tallison got robbed of anything. Derrick Lewis, you know, like maybe the fight even got stopped 4 punches too late. You know, maybe that's kind of my opinion. Maybe the ref should have stepped in when he first went to step in, so that there wouldn't be any controversies. But Tallison grabbing the fence to stand up while being punched and not intelligently defending, you've got to stop the fight there if you hadn't earlier. So yeah, Derrick Lewis gets the win, wins me some cash, and if you'd have followed the predictions, you know, you might have won some cash too. A nice little profit we made, you know. But there you have it. A banging card, honestly. It was a bit of a sleeper card. I went 11-1 on picks. The only fight I got wrong was Taffa, Junior Taffa. All my underdogs won. All my underdog picks won. Yeah, I'm the guy. Listen, I have the best predictions on MMA YouTube. I'm the MMA YouTube underground king with these predictions. I've got like an 88% success rate, maybe a little bit less than that, more like an 82% success rate. But even so, 82% success rate on these cards consistently. I'm never dropping below 70%. I never drop below 70%. Until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.